Asobo Studios have today released a bunch of new information on a Microsoft Flight Simulator, and most notably among these is a load of new details on multiplayer. So this is something that I know a lot of people have been asking about, and it's great to finally get some insight as to how this is all going to work. In this video then, I'll be taking a look at multiplayer information, as well as touching on the latest development roadmap and feedback snapshot. The goal with Microsoft Flight Simulator right from the start was to create a single shared world for all the players, a world which they can experience together and all fly within at the same time. Now this world is hosted on Microsoft's Azure servers, which are scalable and can be adjusted on the fly depending on demand at any one time. Now naturally, with the simulator modelling the entire planet Earth, there's going to be a lot of air traffic. Air traffic is broadly split into two groups. AI-controlled traffic, which is based upon data collected from real-world flight traffic, and traffic from player-controlled planes. The AI traffic will likely reach into the tens, if not hundreds of thousands of planes at any one time, and using real-world tracking data, any plane in the sky right now should also be present in the sim. Of course, it's possible that tracking data can and probably will drop out for specific planes, so if this happens, then Flight Simulator's AI will take over the plane in order to allow for it to continue on its journey. Meanwhile, players will account for another load of air traffic, again possibly in the tens of thousands and potentially hundreds of thousands, really depending on what's going on. Of course, with so many planes in the sky, it would be impossible for any home computer to manage all of this, so the air traffic data is all controlled and managed by the Azure servers. The servers then pass on a limited amount of air traffic data on to players' computers, and this includes both player traffic as well as AI traffic, and it is limited to a 200-kilometer range around the player's plane. Any AI traffic within that range will be directly visible to the players, whilst player traffic within the range will have further limitations. Regarding other player traffic, a player will only be able to see the closest 50 players within that 200-kilometer range. All other traffic will not be rendered as a plane. However, the data points will still be available and will be visible on radar, and this accounts for basically all traffic. In short, all traffic in the world will be accounted for by and monitored by the servers, whilst only the required necessary data will be passed on to players. Now, even with these limits, it's possible that some players' computers may struggle to keep up with the graphical requirements, and for this reason, players will have the ability to set the number of rendered planes, along with a view distance of those planes, so if 50 is a bit too many for your computer to handle, you can drop that right down. Also, if you lower the settings to the point where you cannot physically see certain planes, they can still display as text names and will still be visible on the radar. Basically then, this gives more flexibility for people with less powerful computers. In addition to these details, Asobo also revealed some information on how multiplayer will actually work. In short, you won't have to join any lobbies or queues. Instead, you will set some filters that will determine the type of flight experience you want, and Flight Simulator will then match you with other simmers according to this. Basically, there are three modes: Live, All Players, and Group. Live is the mode dedicated to realism, where players or pilots will be able to follow all rules, and the restrictions will apply to them. If you choose this mode, then your world will be populated by other players bound by the same rules. So basically, this is the world or the option that you want if you want a realistic flight experience. The second mode is All Players, and this is far more flexible. Here, there are no rules and players can fly and explore as they wish. They will also have control over certain parameters of their world, such as weather and other things. The third mode is Group, and this will allow you to fly in a world only with the people you invite. Essentially, one player will create a session based on a set of filters for the parameters that they actually want, and they will then be able to invite others into that session. So that pretty much gives the flexibility for everyone to get the experience that they want from their flight sessions, and it seems like a great approach. Asobo also released a new development roadmap this week, which gives a brief overview for April and May. You can see the roadmap on the screen right now, and I'll also go over a few of the details that I feel are actually highlights. So for April, most notably, there are three yellow sections. These are the Feature Discovery series, which will return with Episode 8, which is the Instrument Flight Reading, or IFR, and this will go into some detail on how the plane's flight instruments will work, specifically the instruments that pilots rely on for non-visual flight. There will also be a Partnership Announcement Series update, and whilst there's no specific details here, hopefully this will reveal what type of content some of the third-party developers will be making available for Flight Simulator. The third highlight in April comes towards the end of the month and is simply called Save the Date Announcement. Very curious. The rest of the month contains the standard points that we have come to expect from weekly updates and includes things such as build timelines, media updates, SDK updates and all the rest of it. May is much the same and will bring a new development roadmap for June and July. And perhaps most interesting for May is that Asobo will be providing an update for the Feature Discovery series, which by that point would already have 8 episodes released, so more information on what is planned for that series would certainly be most welcome. The latest feedback snapshot once again shows us some of the top questions, issues and wishlist requests that current alpha testers have. Some of the most common questions match the ones I've often seen comments on in the videos I've been putting out on Flight Simulator, and these include questions about both the minimum spec requirements as well as the pricing model. And whilst these haven't been openly answered yet, Asobo seem keen to point out that they are well aware that people want this information. Regarding ongoing issues, some of the current issues relate to grass scale as well as tree scale. Now this is something that Asobo have said previously that they will address. It also appears that there's various issues surrounding weather, and this includes live weather issues as well as incorrect updraft. You can see the other issues on the list right now. And with it being alpha, these things will no doubt be addressed in upcoming builds. As for the top wishlist requests, helicopters, advanced peripherals and VR remain on the list along with numerous other things. So that then pretty much covers everything for this week in Flight Simulator 2020. A lot of great information there for sure. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.